Now, illegal mining is being blamed for the deadly gas leak at Angelo informal settlement in Boksburg. The death toll from that disaster is still at 17, but 10 other people, we're told, are being treated at Tambo Memorial Hospital. This tragedy coming as the country prepares to mark a year since 8 women were gang raped in Krugersdorp by alleged zamazamas there. So let's unpack the scourge of illegal mining in South Africa and bring in now the head of communications with the Mineral Resources Department. That's Makhosonke Buthelezi, who joins us now via our video link. And Shenge, once again, thanks for your time. It's great to have you on the program. I wonder as a start what your response is to what Panyaza Lusufi said yesterday. Very unequivocal, not mincing his words. He reckons currently as things stand, the country is incapacitated, cannot respond to the scourge of illegal mining.
Thank you. The department has always maintained that illegal mining is a criminal activity and it should be treated as such. And with the cases that we have seen, these people are armed to the teeth and they have serious ammunition, assault rifles, and all that. And indeed, we really need to intensify our approach in terms of fighting illegal mining. And we can see that those who are digging beneath the earth are merely foot soldiers. There's criminal syndicates who are involved in funding this activity. So we definitely need to intensify our efforts in fighting illegal mining in our country.
Yeah, what I find very interesting is those who represent government and those in government speaking as though you exist outside of that. You know, some people might suggest that you almost sound as exasperated as ordinary South Africans about what needs to be done next.
We merely expressing the frustration of dealing with illegal mining in South Africa, because even the efforts that are in place, for example, the sealing of mines, even if we close these abandoned mines, illegal miners find a way of going into them. And the mere fact that people get arrested, but this illegal mining doesn't end. People get convicted in great numbers. For example, this year about 87 illegal miners in March were convicted to 696 years in prison combined. But this scourge seems to be increasing. So that is why we say we really need to relook at the strategies that we have and intensify them in fighting this illegal mining.
Yeah, I mean, it's great that you're sharing the frustration of ordinary South Africans. I'm sure they'll appreciate that. But there's a question to be asked about what happens after that. 87 people being arrested, I'm sure you'll agree, is just a drop in the ocean.
It is indeed a drop in the ocean. We need to intensify our intelligence in terms of the whole value chain. But I think beyond that, we also need to initiate discussions with our neighboring countries, because it has been shown that mostly people who are involved in this illegal mining are coming from our neighboring countries. I think there needs to be a discussion with our neighboring countries to really look at this issue of illegal mining.
All right, let's talk about what can be done at a practical level from the department's perspective. I mean, part of the issue here is that a lot of these mining houses operate in communities. Once they're done, or for whatever reason, once operations can't continue, they somewhat abandon the mines. That creates an environment for these, artisanal miners in some instances, or zamazamas to come in. What can be done to prevent that, at the very least, from continuing, at least at the rate at which it is?
So most of these abandoned mines, remember, are the mines that have been mined long time ago, before the MPRDA Act, Mineral Resources and Petroleum Development Act was passed, which came into 2002. Any mining operator that applied for a mining right after 2002, they are obliged by this act to have a plan in place in terms of how are they going to close the mine, how are they going to rehabilitate where they mine after 30 years of mining operations. So as the department, we make sure that we enforce that. But over and above that, they are also obliged to set aside funds, rehabilitation funds with us, so that at the time when they close, they can withdraw those funds and rehabilitate the area. But we should continue working as a collective, interdepartmental teams in terms of doing these raids where illegal mining occurs. And with the arrest that we've been able to achieve so far, I think we are making headways. We just need to intensify our efforts.
And what happens for those mines that closed operations before 2002? I suspect they're not really affected by this legislation itself, because I imagine that's where the obvious gap lies.
Yeah, so what happens with those mines, DMR is responsible for those mines. We have a program where we close those mines. For example, last year, for the past 3 years, we have been able to seal about 135 of those mines in Gauteng. And we are planning to, this financial year, we are planning to close about 20 of those mines. I must say, though, we only have, we get allocated about 140 million to do that, and that is always not enough if you consider a number of mines that have been abandoned since mining began in South Africa. However, with the little that we have, we are able to close those mines. So that is what we are doing as the department.
Right. How much is this costing the department, and do you have that money?
So, like I just said, it cost us about 140 million to close the mine. But if you look at the quantum, there are about 6,000 ownerless mines in South Africa. And when we do our calculation, you would need about 49 billion rands to close all those mines. So the quantum is huge, and financial resources, obviously, they don't match that quantum.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm trying to imagine what those who are affected, for instance, by what happened yesterday would feel listening to your responses. I mean, as a representative of government in some respects, especially in the sector, what do you reckon ought to happen, at least in the immediate term, for people who can't wait for, you know, some kind of timeline so that money can be found to get these mines finally closed? What happens, do you reckon, at least from the department's perspective, in the immediate term?
So, because we do work according to a program and we prioritize Gauteng, you know, as the hotspots. So I think it's a matter of reprioritizing and making sure that where there's hotspots in terms of illegal mining, we prioritize those areas. And we, of the 20 that we are targeting this year, are in Gauteng. And we will also urge where there's illegal mining and there's suspicions of illegal mining, to please those residents to go to the police station or to phone the Crime Stop line, so that we can be able to react immediately and be able to raid those places. And it is true, we need serious resources in terms of fighting illegal mining, because these people, it looks like they're always ahead of the game. And we need to intensify our intelligence and intensify our collective effort in fighting these illegal activities.
Right. The Head of Communications with the Mineral Resources Department, Makhosonke Buthelezi, thanks very much indeed for your time.